Okay, just try to solve this. Okay, it is not a like test. It is not your exam or something. Just we will be having a quick revision with this. Just try to solve this. If you find out some, and if you can give some of the answers, then it will be good. Just try to do this. If it is done, just let me know. Okay. Is it done?
Just doing the last one.
Okay, okay, okay. Take your time.
Miss finished.
Okay, done. Everybody of you?
Yes, miss.
Okay, fine. So it was easy, right?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So let's see what answers you have with you. First one is
Miss false.
yes, it's false. Uh, what is wrong in this statement?
Miss Miss it is after fertilization.
Yes, very good. So this is the problem over here. It should be after. Okay. Next one is
Miss, it is false. It is a food material for nourishment of embryo.
okay, good. So it doesn't provides protection. It provides nourishment. Then the next one.
Miss false.
Yes, that is also false because embryo is not remaining dormant. It is active when it germinates. So, is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Okay,
miss.
okay, fine. So, poppy seeds are classified as you have to classify between albuminous and non-albuminous.
Miss
Miss
dipole.
albuminous.
Okay, everybody can trace it out from your book.
Yes, miss.
Okay, and this one, the odd one out.
Miss I found two of them. Custard
Okay,
apple and palm.
okay, these two, custard apple and palm. Anybody else?
Miss, I have also written the same thing, miss.
Okay, fine. So that's the right because custard apple and palm are basically what how they are classified.
Miss albuminous seed.
Okay,
Miss
and rest of
albuminous.
the yes, and others are ex-albuminous
X
or
albuminous.
yes. So this is just uh, refreshing something what we did last in the last class. So if you are thorough with this, then we will begin with the today's portion. Okay. So is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay. So then we will begin. Okay. So for as we did a basic structure of seed in the last class, dicots, monocots, how what important things they have in their structure. So today we will be having their structure for the particular seeds we will study today, how they do germinate, why do they germinate, and what are the requirements for their germination. That part we will be studying today. So first let's see, we have dicots and monocots. Okay. And examples that we have to see for these are p gram b, while in monocots we will go for maize, grasses, etc. Now see, whatever we are understanding right now, it's a general structure, or the general things which has to be considered when you are seeing the dicot. It is not true for all and it is not false at every point. Okay. So whatever you are observing right now, it's a general thing. Okay? So basically, what happens with the dicots is most of the dicots are of kidney shape. There may be round shape too. Okay, so there may be the round shape too. As you know, peas are round one. Okay, but what we are observing right now, that general structure for them is of kidney shape. Okay, so let's see how it is seen, and what is the important labelings you have that in the diagram. So first, when it is kidney shape, just see this, that it is like this, and at this region you can see a darkening of the tissue. Have you observed this?
Yes, miss.
You must have seen when you are observing the seeds, these things are very much clear to you. So the one which is on this side, it's a convex one, and this side is concave. Okay. So now see, if you place this seed uh, and if you are observing from the upper side, if you turn it and you are observing from the front, right now it is like this, and if you turn it, then what you will be observing is you have a seed, and in the center you are having the darkening, but little bit of white portion also you can see. It's not completely dark. You can see a scar like thing. Okay, when you will turn this seed like this, right now if it is kept like this, it should be like this, and if you are turning it and observing from the front, then you can see the coloring shades like this in it. Now the thing if that you have to see what does this mean, and what does this mean, that portion we will study right now. So first of all, the most important for the these seeds are seed coat, which provides the protection to the seed. Okay, now in this one you can have a very distinct seed coat. It is very much clear, you can peel it off. Okay, and whenever the seed is soaked in the water, then you can see sometimes the covering comes out of comes or it is removed by the seed, and that is a seed coat. So it is very much distinct, very much clear uh, covering which is provided to the seed. So this particular seed is having covering of two types, and that is called testa and tegmen. Okay, so testa and tegmen, both of them will combine to give you the seed coat. So how you will be observing this testa and tegmen, that is when you draw the seed, and this is the portion which is being drawn. So the one which is on the outer side is called testa, and the one which is on the inner side, okay, it is called Tegmen. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay, fine. So, testa is on the outer side and it is tough, very much rigid and strong, while tegmen is bit fragile as in comparison to the testa. Okay, so these are the seed coats. Now, if you are observing the seed like this, then this scar, this empty region which is being shown, that is called hilum. Okay, so it's basically on the concave side and it's a scar like structure which you can observe when you are observing the seed, and it is the place you must be knowing that flowers bears the gynoecium, and this is the ovary portion, and from this ovary the placenta comes out which attaches the ovule. Okay, this is the basic structure you must have seen. Am I right?
Yes, miss.
Okay, fine. So the placenta attachment occurs at the region where the hilum is being seen when the seed is matured. Okay, so when it was in this form, here this is the region where the placenta was attached, so that it can have a better transport for food, air, everything. Okay, so hilum is the place where the placenta was attached when it was immature, when it was in the inside the flower. Now as it is matured, it became seed. It this particular area is called hilum. Okay, so is it clear to you?
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
miss.
Okay, fine. So now see, this the one these are the basic things you have to see for the dicots. Now let's open this seed. Once you are opening it, then you have two kidney shaped structures like this that you can see, and little bit of blackening will must be observed like this. Okay, so this hilum is having a pore. Whenever you are opening the seed, because placenta was attached, the hilum is having a pore, and when you are opening it, you can observe this space is always empty. It's easy to break off because it is having a pore inside it at this area. If suppose if this much area is hilum, here somewhere you can find a pore, and that pore is called micropipe. Okay, so this pore, sorry.
Miss. Miss.
Can you hear me?
Yes, miss.
Oh, sorry, it just
Miss.
fell down from my
Miss.
face.
In our book, the
Yes,
diagram hilum, the micropyle is shown above the hilum.
above the hilum. Actually, it is not above the hilum or something like that. It is this much area is hilum, and inside it the pore is present. Understood? Suppose let me draw it little bit bigger. Uh, let me magnify this region. If I magnify, you can see if this is the blackening, then okay, if this is the black region, and if this much area is hilum, somewhere here the pore must be present. Am I clear to you now?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so somewhere here the pore must be present, and that area is called micropyle. Actually, what happens, that you can see that, if let's take this example only, if this area is blackening, okay, then the empty space is considered as micropyle. Okay, and this much area surrounding the micropyle is called hilum, and outside this, the blackening should be there. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, miss.
Okay.
Yes,
So I
miss.
think in textbook you have the labeling above the hilum.
Yes, miss.
Okay, so it's
Yes, miss.
just because that whole region is hilum, and in that region one pore is present. That pore is called micropyle. Okay, so that is how it is present. So have you understood? Hilum is nothing but a scar-like region, and that scar-like region is having pore. That pore is called micropyle. Now this micropyle is responsible for the absorption. It is responsible for diffusion. Okay, so it absorbs water from the surrounding. Whenever you soak the seeds, the water and the whole seed is not absorbing the water. The one which is absorbing water is only the micropyle. Once that part is open for the seed, then only the seed can soak the water. Then other area will have that endosmosis process. That is a different thing, but the main portion which is absorbing water is a micropyle. And it also allows diffusion for the gases, that is respiratory gases requires for the respiration, O2, exchange of O2 and CO2. That's why you must have seen that whenever you store the seeds in a jar at your home, sometimes it is airtight or container, or you are having some that type of containers at your home. After some time, what happens, that it is your mother says that they are having some small insects in them. They have sometimes, in the jar you can feel the moisture too. Sometimes, I think at your house you must have seen, or you must have seen your mother talking about this.
Yes, miss.
Okay, so why is it
Yes,
so?
miss.
Because micropyle is there in the seed, which continues for the diffusion of gases. This process is continued for the seeds. That's why sometimes you can observe that part at your home too. Now, once the seed is open, then you can see a big and very distinct. The color is also different when you open the seeds. You can observe something like this, a very prominent structure, and that structure is called embryo. Okay, when you whenever you open the seeds, it's a very prominent. It's having a different color shade also. If it does, suppose if you are having a pea seed, then you can see the whole seed is green in color, but that portion is little bit creamish in the shade. Have you seen it?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So these two, the seeds which you have separated, is they are called cotyledons. These two are cotyledons. Now in this, the one which is on the outer side is called testa. The inner one is called tegmen, somewhere here the hilum must be there, and some inside it the pore must be some at this region, that micropyle must be present. Now it is clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay. So I think in the last class we must have we studied that when embryo has been studied, or if it is magnified, then you can classify that in 4 regions. The topmost is called limule. Okay. Then this one is called epicotyle. Okay. Well, this one is hypocotyle, and this one is radical. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay. Fine. So now see this epicotyle, hypocotyle, radical. Basically, it stays below the ground. With the radical, it this much portion also sometimes move inside the ground. So the one which creates the stem, it's nothing but a plumule. It creates a shoot region. Okay. So, when you are observing these embryo in the true seeds, then you must have seen it is not as clear like this. It is not as clear structure like this. It is having some layers like this. If you have observed it is not very much sharp like this. Have you seen it?
Yes, miss.
Okay, it is something which is very much uh, uh, 2 to 3 layers you can observe, because this plumule is having a shoot region which is underdeveloped right now, and they are having 2 tiny leaves covering them. Means not exactly leaves, they are the layers which is covering the plumule. That's why when you are observing this embryo region in the seeds, it is little bit wavy, or little bit having a different layers inside it. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so that is what the dicot seed is having, and this is how it should be studied, and nothing more than this is required for the dicots. So let's see for the monocots on this side only, so that you can compare both of them. Okay, so as you know that in monocots, especially if we consider maize, it is classified in the category of grain, because fruit wall and seed coat, both of them are fused. As they are fused, it is classified in the category of grain. Now this seed is, well, the basic difference for them is that as it is having 2 cotyledons, here no separation can be done. Okay, it's just a one particular structure that is having all the things inside it. So if we draw it is a bit like this. Okay. So this is how it should be classified first of all, and in that you can see the maize seed too. It is available in the shops very easily, and you can observe all these things at your home only. Okay, so in this cotyledons, as they are not separated, but how it is organized in a seed, that we will see. That first of all, let's divide the seed into portions, that this much portion is responsible to uh, keep the embryo inside it, and while this portion is responsible to keep the endosperm. Okay, so on the upper side, if you see the seeds in the market, then you can see the color difference too. Okay, so in this region, the one which is present is called endosperm. Okay, which basically it's a starch. Okay, so the basic food that is present inside the seed is called starch, and you must have seen that the people who are the laborers, have you seen them, laborers, those who are residing on the roadside, or those who are uh, working in on that carrying the loads, or working on the construction sites, you must have observed them that they eat basically maize, or sometimes they eat bajra, millets. Have you seen them?
Yes, miss.
Why is it so? The reason for them, because they, these seeds have lot of starch in them, and starch is nothing but a polymer of glucose. It's a polymer of glucose, and glucose is the instant source of energy. Okay, so that's why these people, laborers, have their staple diet is basically meat. They don't go for pulses or something like that. They basically go for this because they need lot of energy to carry out the heavy work. Okay, so that's why they have these seeds. And another thing you must have observed that do you in this season the corn is available. Have you tasted it ever? Corn?
Yes, miss.
Right now this season is for corns. Okay, corn is nothing but maize. It's a fresh maize. Okay, once it is dried, then it is called maize. So you must have have eaten corn, and you can experience this in next time whenever you will have it. That when you chew it several times, okay, then it tastes sweeter in taste. It's must sweet, it's very much sweet because it have lot of starch, and when you chew it, the starch get digested in your mouth, and it in turn releases glucose. As glucose tastes sweet, that's why you feel the sweetness in the corn. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Chew it bit more, experience the taste, then you will observe that it is sweet in taste. Okay, and so this is what we let's come back to the monocots. So the portion of this region is having a starch, that is endosperm, and the one which is the layer which is covering this particular seed. Okay. This layer is called aileron layer. Aileron is nothing but one type of protein. Okay. So this is a proteinic in nature that is covering the seed, and this particular area, lower side of the seed, is responsible for the carrying the embryo inside. That's why the single cotyledon, this region, this area, is called cotyledon and it is called scutellum. Okay, so that region is called scutellum. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay, fine. And now see here, in this, the way here embryo is there, here also embryo is there, but it is not that much distinct. You cannot separate it out. But if you observe it under microscope, then you can see that plumule is also there and radicle is also there. The plumule is on the upper side while radical is on the lower side of this seed. Okay. So this one is radical and this one is nothing but plumule. Okay, and this plumule is having the protective layer around it. Let's have some different color for this. So this plumule is because it is on the broader side of the embryo, it is on the upper side of this seed. So it is having a covering like this. Okay. So this covering is called coleoptile. Okay. This is called coleoptile, while radical is also having the covering that is called coleorhiza. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So you can observe these diagrams in your textbooks too. It is very much clear and drawn very well. So you can observe them that coleoptile, coleorhiza, scutellum must be labeled in your book also.
Yes, miss.
Are there any doubts from your textbook?
No, miss.
Okay, so it's clear to you, right? So this is what the basic difference of the structure you can observe in dicots and monocots. Now, this much thing is the basic need to understand the structure. Let's move further then for this, that um, how do these seeds germinate? Okay, that we will be observing. Hmm, let's see. What happens when they germinate basically? We will proceed for the germination. This is the most important event for a seed because seed is formed for the germination. If it is not germinating, then it is dead. Okay, so seed is made for the germination, and this is the process. It will start or end once the seedling is formed. That means formation of seedling is called germination. What do you mean by the word seedling? Do you understand? That means baby of a seed. That means new plant from the seed is nothing but seedling. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Okay.
miss.
You must have uh, read this suffix like ducks have ducklings. That means babies of ducks. Same similar thing you can relate over there. Seedling, baby of a seed. That means the new plant from the seed is called nothing but seedling. Now, for this formation of seedling, that means for the process of germination, there are some requirements. There are some conditions which helps the process of germination or which triggers the process of germination. Okay. So the thing, basically what happens that once the seed is collected from the fields, it is being dried, it undergoes so many processes, then it is available in markets, then farmers buy it or other people buy it. So at that, from once it is collected or once it is removed from the agricultural ground, then uh, till it goes to the next germination, at that much period is called dormancy. Dormancy or dormant stage. Okay. Dormant means to sleep, to rest. Okay. They don't do much of the activity at that position. That means that doesn't mean that seed is not respiring. It is still respiring. Okay, and if you provide the proper condition, then it will germinate. But to protect itself, okay, it will undergo the process of dormancy, and you will be surprised to know that seeds can stay for 100 years like this, hundreds of years. After 100 a year, if they get the suitable condition, then also they will germinate. So they are very peaceful uh, objects of the life. Okay, so they are not in hurry. Okay, but whenever they will be having the proper condition, then they will not stop. They will germinate. So during this period, they rest. That means their process of metabolism. Do you understand this word?
Miss, can you please again explain the word metabolism?
Okay, metabolism means the processes for survival. Okay,
Okay, Miss.
okay. So all these processes are very slow when they are in dormant condition. They don't stop, but just the speed is very slow. All the enzymes are put on the rest. No need to work, no need of work for them. Nothing is been required. So their metabolic activities are very slow. That's why they survive for hundred of years. Okay? Now, what happens with this is that, let's see, that the best conditions or suitable conditions for the germinations are, first of all, they require good amount of water. Okay, good amount of water first of all, and so just hold on. Sorry class for the disturbance, and see this. Where were we? In the bottle. So whenever the am I audible?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, fine. Okay. So water, when it is available to the seeds, then what the first process is happening inside is swelling. Okay. This swelling occurs, And what happens when the swelling occurs is that seed coat ruptures. Okay, that you must be observing at your home. Then whenever you have the sprouts in your breakfast, then whatever seed has been soaked for the overnight, okay, so overnight soaking, what happens, the layer that comes out from the seed is called rupturing of seed coat. Now what happens, whenever the seed coat ruptures, the enzymes which are kept at very slow mode or completely on, they are not working, they will start working. And what they will do, they will dissolve endosperm. Okay, they will dissolve endosperm. And if you have a proper condition till then the one thing which comes out from the seed is something like this. You must have seen sprouted seeds at your home.
Yes, miss.
Okay, that sprout which is coming out is nothing but radicle. The one which you are eating is nothing but the radicle. So first thing which comes out of the seed, and that is called radicle, and the dissolved endosperm will provide the nourishment to this radicle so that it can grow very well. And you can observe that if you keep it for 8 to 9 hours, then it grows longer.
Yes,
Have you
miss.
seen? Okay. So that is what is happening when the water is provided to the seed. Now, next is the temperature is also a very much important factor. Now, see this, if you provide water to the seed, but the temperature is not appropriate, then also this will not occur. Okay. Now that is very common practice at our home. That if it is the atmosphere is towards the colder side, if you have the winter days or winter nights, then this process takes little bit more time as compared to the summer days. Okay, your mother must be doing what? She must be, if it is soaking portion is done in the winter, then she will be keeping it in a cloth or in a closed container so that proper temperature should be available for the seeds to get sprouted. Have you seen this?
No, miss.
No, then help your mother out much more. You will come across this. Okay, so listen this very carefully. That temperature has to be very much optimal. This process will occur, but if it is very cold, then enzymes are inactive. Okay, if it is very cold, then enzymes remain inactive. They will not work no matter you provide lot of water to them. But the enzymes will remain inactive if it is very cold. And if it is too hot, then enzymes gets destroyed. So the temperature has to be very much optimal. Okay, so not too much cold, not too much hot is uh, required for them. Very much proper temperature is required. Basically, a room temperature is a much more better word to be used. So that is the another thing. And then is oxygen. That means aeration. Proper air has to be provided to the seeds. You must have studied in your lower classes that in the pot, if you are having a plantation project and you have a soil till here, okay, in the pot. And if you place a seed over here, one seed over here, and one seed over here, then also the seeds will show the different type of growth. This will never grow, okay, because no oxygen is available. This will be having too much of oxygen, so this will also not grow. But this one will have the proper oxygen, then it will grow. Too much of oxygen is also not good, and absence of oxygen is also not good thing for the survival of the seed. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So you have some of the experiments at your home, and that you can do on your own at your home. Just try it out. It's not like you require a flask, you require a test tubes, or you require a lab for these experiments. Just what you can do, you can use your home utensils and you can have these experiments. Just try this out for three basic requirements. That just make a column: water, temperature, and oxygen. This you can do at your home. The first, for water, what you can do is take some of the seeds of you have at your home the one methi seeds, or fenugreek. Have you ever come across these words?
Yes, miss.
Do you know this? It is in the kitchen. You can ask your mother, she will give you. Okay, take just spoonful. You don't have the kilo of them. Okay, just take one spoon out of it, and what you have to do is soak them. Okay, and take two small bowls you can have. In one bowl, what you can do is keep a tissue or small cloth or cotton, anything, whatever is available at your home. Okay, a small cloth, just place it on the base, take another bowl and place it over here also, cotton or tissue or cloth, anything. Now just what you have to do is sprinkle the water in one of them, mark them as A and B. Sprinkle the water in one container A, and don't sprinkle anything over here. Okay, and place uh, some of the seeds on this, and place some of the seeds on this. Keep it for the overnight. You can see what the water works for them. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So this is how you can see the requirement of the water for the germination. Now another thing you can do is for testing the temperature. So same thing, what you have to do is take the same seeds and take at least 3 containers with you. A, B, C. You can have a small bowls, okay, or you can have the that caps of the bottles also can work. You don't need a big bowls, soup bowls or something like that. Small caps will also do for this. So what you have to do is again place a cotton at the base of each and every container, okay, and sprinkle, provide water to all of them, provide water to ABC, all will have the water, and place the seeds on them. Okay, now see what we were doing here. Here we were not providing water to the B. We are providing water only to the container A. But here you are providing water to each and every one of them. Now, keep this. See this? Take A and keep this in a refrigerator. Okay. And take another one, keep it this in your room. And if you have oven at your home or somewhere where the place which is very much where the temperature is little bit more, there you can keep it oven or your suppose if you, cupboards. Okay, their temperature is bit more as compared to your room, so keep the temperature, take the temperature difference as your consideration and keep these three your containers somewhere, and then observe that at what time you will must have these germination. And for this, that you can do that in one pot, one bottle or a pot, you can also have a bottle, a waste bottle, that you can see that if you have a bottle, fill it with some amount of water and place one seed at the bottommost layer of the bottle, and place just put one scale. You have a ruler scale with you. Place one seed over here and place one seed over here. Then also they will show you the difference of germination. You can do this at your home, and this is not a big deal to do. It's a very small experiment you can observe at your home and just record your observation that we will see in the next class. Can you do it?
Yes, Miss.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, instead of water, you can have soil also. You can have the experiment in the soil also. If one of you is doing in the water, one of you can do that in the soil. That will show you the difference, that what is the importance of oxygen to the seeds. Okay, so this is how you can compare all the three factors required for the process of germination, and it's fun. I think class 4 and 5 students are also doing this. They are having fun with when they are having, they can see the germination. Okay. Uh, and you can see that there may be the possibility of germination when you are doing this. Okay, then whatever observation you are having, just observe that in A, B and C, here observation you have to mention in A, B, and here also three seeds are there, seed A, seed B and seed C, that you can observe. What you have to do is, germination occurs or not. If germination happens, just give it a tick mark. Okay. If germination does not occur, then you have to wait for it. Okay. You can observe it for 24 hours. So you can write down the time also. If suppose A germinates at 6 o'clock, then B germinates at 10 o'clock. Whatever the your observation must be there. You can write the time also. That will give you a proper understanding of the experiments. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So I think in the next class I will be waiting for you for this. Uh, Hopefully you must be coming up with these experiments in front of me. You can just leave the picture on the WhatsApp group for this before the class starts, or if you have a time in this week, that at any of the day you can utilize for this experiment. Is it clear?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so just try it out, and whatever observation, just keep it in your book, and we will discuss that in the next class. You will understand the germination process very easily if you understand this much. Okay, so you must be having the next class right now.
Yes, miss.
You have the classes for the school from 8 o'clock, am I right?
Miss, not today.
Not today. Okay, so let me take your 5 minutes for this. So once you are done with these experiments, there are types of germination also. And in this, there are two types. One is hypogeal, another one is epigeal germination. And why this is hypogeal? That means whenever the germination occurs, the cotyledons remains under the ground. Okay, while in epigeal they comes out of ground. Okay, so that is what the important difference between them, hypogeal and epigeal. Okay, so this I just want to ask you one thing right now, that you have your exams in September.
Yes, miss, it usually happens in September.
Okay, your school is intimating you regarding your midterm or half yearly somewhere in September.
No, miss, still not told.
Still not. Okay, so out of all these chapters, let me ask you, you have completed cell, am I right?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Then
Yes, miss.
tissue is done,
Yes, miss.
Yes,
flower,
miss.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
okay, pollination and fertilization,
Yes, miss.
all these 4 chapters are done,
Miss,
right?
flower,
And we are doing
pollination and
seeds,
fertilization done.
done. Okay, and we are doing
Yes.
seeds, structure and germination.
Yes, miss.
Okay, so just
Yes.
let do one thing today. Just write down the name of your school. Okay, and if it is given from your school, then your half yearly syllabus. Okay, the one which will be there in these exams, those chapters you have to write down. That much part you will be doing today. Okay,
Miss, our school has not given any half-yearly syllabus.
Okay.
okay, which school you belong to?
Miss, SPS.
Miss St.
SPS.
Patrick's.
Okay, St. Patrick's. Okay, and others, you belong to the different school, right?
Miss Sodhpur AG.
Okay, whatever your school is, just if it is given from your school, just let me know and just pass this message in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, miss.
Okay, miss.
Okay, if it is given, then it's okay. If it is not given, then wait till your school gives it. If you, because it's Sunday today, ask if and the, when your school will be teaching, ask your teacher that whatever the syllabus is there, just write it down and just give me that message on the WhatsApp group. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so this is what the thing which we have to study right now is hypogeal and epigeal. Am I going for too much? Are you all fed up with this, or shall I continue?
No, miss, you can continue.
No, miss.
Okay. It is very quick. You can observe that in your textbooks. The diagrams are very much given in very much detailed one. The one which is given, let's see for the both of them, hypogeal and epigeal, how they are growing. What does that mean? That remains under the ground, above the ground, that we will be observing. So suppose for hypogeal, the example we will take will be P. Okay. Once the P is ready for the germination, that seed will lead to the seed coat has to be bursted. That means testa should be softened and it should burst. And the first thing which will come out of the seed will be nothing but the radicle that we studied in the germination. Okay, so radicle will come out, and once the radicle is out of the seed, then what will happen? Will you can see that from this seed, the radicle will grow much more. It will give rise to the roots so that it can stabilized in the ground. Okay, and then the plumule will also push the soil like this. See, it is not pushing with the help of the tip. It is utilizing this bend for the pushing the soil. It is not utilizing the tip because tip is much very delicate structure. It will break down if it is pushed it from the tip region. That's why it will push the soil like this. Once this is done, then sorry, then these cotyledons will remain inside and radicle will be much more longer with development of greater roots, and the this one plumule will come up and it will give rise to the new shoot system. Later on. Now what happens actually over here, that this plumule when comes out of the soil, it will have two leaf-like structure, the one which we have studied when we were studying embryo, and these leaves are the first leaves of the plant. Basically these seeds these leaves are the first leaves, and they are from the embryonic leaves. So you will come across with the word that uh, these embryonic leaves will fall down later on. Okay, and fall down later on, and another thing happens, that foliage word will come. Foliage leaves, that means true leaves, the one which is green in color, arises from the nodes, everything that the true leaves will develop later on. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay. And what do you along with this you can understand for the bean seed also. Here we will consider for the bean that here also same thing happens, but the what happens in this is that seeds which give rise to the radicle, okay, and the sorry, plumule. Once it is get bursted, then what will happen actually with this, that this plumule will bring the cotyledon above the ground. Okay, so the roots will remain like this, and this cotyledons will also come above like this with the along with the plumule. Okay, so they will also come above the ground, and these cotyledons are be the embryonic leaves for the plants once they are above the ground. And after all that, they will fall and true leaves will appear. Can you compare these diagrams from your textbooks? For pea and bean, can you compare?
Yes, miss.
Okay. Do you understand that they are coming out? This you can see at your home also. If you have a garden at your home or a pot in which the soil is there, just put some pea seeds and put some bean seeds inside it, and you can observe this at your home, that how the foliage leaves come out. It is very much clear and very much evident when you observe. Uh, they are not a difficult one to observe. You can identify them very well. So this is what the hypogeal and epigeal germination is. And once this root is established inside the ground, then these leaves will come, because it can provide the nutrition from the soil, and the shoot is ready for the photosynthesis. So that is how it will work. The root has to be established first of all, and it will stabilize the whole plant. Is it clear to you?
Yes,
Yes.
miss.
Okay. And then another seed you are having in your book is maize. Maize is showing same germination process. The only difference is with its roots, because here you can see the tap root system. The main root is there, and from that small roots will come out. While in maize, what will happen is the root will be in form of bunch. If you can see the diagram in your book. Can you see it?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so the only difference is with their root. Maize, as it is a monocot, both of them, these two are dicots. Okay, and while this one is monocot, the only difference is shown is with their root. Rest of the process of germination is same for the maize, that you can see. Understood?
Yes, miss.
Okay, fine. So do one thing, just go through your textbooks, uh, uh, content, read it carefully, and mark the doubts if you're having, and we will discuss that in the next class. Okay.
Okay, miss.
So this much for today, and just if you have this, do remember to do this.
Okay, miss.
Okay, and go for the experiments if you have the time after your online classes. You can go for the experiment. Okay.
Okay, miss.
Okay, so goodbye and have a good day today.
Bye, miss.
Goodbye.